forgot my camera for my laptop, so I'm gonna have to do this the old school way. I have to do that with my phone. I'm down at WESTECH Performance, as you can see. Take a look. Whoa, whoa. They are right now over on the chassis dyno doing a pretty cool sand rail. We could walk over, take a look at that. It's really loud, but it does have the really cool 8-into-1 exhaust, so I know the guys are going to want to see that. I'm on the dyno right now. I have the 3800 Supercharged V6. I just ran some very cool stuff, some testing with it. The video should be coming out tomorrow. I ran the blower with a 3-inch blower pulley and nitrous. Hit it with a pretty big shot too. Made some pretty big power, but it's never without its adventure, and we definitely had that. You guys will be able to see that in the video. It's pretty cool stuff. But we're running, right now, I just finished the nitrous stuff. I'm also gonna run the nitrous on the NA motor, because I'm going to after I take the blower off, I'm going to put the NA manifold back on, because everybody wanted to see how much power the camshaft that we put in there, the little comp cam, the 210, 220 comp cam, was worth when it was NA. Like, how much did it gain NA, and then how much did it gain under boost? So we're going to be able to show that, and the only way for me to do that is I have to rerun the NA test with the camshaft in it before making a lot more upgrades. The ported heads are done. They should be here tomorrow. I have another camshaft for it from the guys at ZZP. I have a smaller blower pulley, but the cool thing I'm doing tonight is I'm going to take you guys a walk over there. We're going to take a look. I'm putting now, after running the nitrous, and the cool thing is with the nitrous, I also measure the charge temperatures. So we were running, I had a thermocouple in there measuring the charge temperature under the blower. We're running it on E85, but everybody wanted to find out how much does the charge temperature change when we introduce nitrous? Because I'll show you what we did here. Here's my, take a look down here. Here's my nitrous setup. You guys will get to see this. So what we did was, you can see this, I ran a wet fogger. This one's from Nitrous Express. And ran it with, we were injecting both nitrous and E85, both cool, obviously. We were injecting it into, I'm going to show you right here. We were injecting it into the throttle body of the blower. So basically we were doing similar to a water meth injection test, except we were using two really good things. One of them E85, the other one nitrous, and obviously nitrous always adds big power. And it did in this case also, but it also lowered the charge temperature. So that'll be part of the video as well, showing you what the change in temperature was. The interesting thing also was I ran a number of successive tests to find out what the gain in charge temperature was as we keep letting this thing, kind of get hotter and hotter. Because the thing is, when you make a run, this thing will go up over 200 degrees with the 3-inch blower pulley that we have on here. So it will easily exceed 200-degree charge temperatures. And then what happens is as we make successive runs, you can see we've got a 3-inch ZZP pulley on there. As we make successive runs, the starting temperature just gets hotter and hotter. What that means is that the ending temperature also gets hotter and hotter. So what we're doing to help combat that, you guys can take a look here. JPL sent me this intercooler. It's a ZZP deal. Air to water, so we're putting that on right now. That's going to sandwich in between the blower and the engine. And you can see, here's our inlet and outlet for the intercooler water. We're gonna run stuff from the dyno down there. We've got a valve, we just got to plumb lines up to it, and then we'll run the other one back here to the tank. And we'll just let it drain in there. So we can use ambient dyno water. You can see I've got the headers on here. The other thing I'm going to do is with the 3-inch pulley, now that we're making some power, it's making right at about 400, right at the low 400 number without the intercooler on it. We're going to do a comparison with the stock exhaust manifolds and headers at this higher power level because, let's face it, we're making more power. So the headers should be worth more power. So far, they really haven't shown much in all the testing that I've done. And, that's unfortunate. I was hoping for like big power gains. You can see we've got here's the long tubes, and we got essentially a 3-inch open exhaust. So it all worked out really good. Someone's asking, how was the knock? We don't have any detonation at all because we're running this thing cold. We're running on an E85 and we're running it plenty safe. I only have about 22. We tried 23 degrees of timing in it, and it's running, like I said, the 3-inch pulley on it. The interesting thing is we saw a change in boost with the nitrous, which was also cool. So that's why we test, because we see all kinds of great stuff. So I'm excited about getting the intercooler on there. Whoa. So that will be an interesting test. I want to see what the change in charge temperature is, and we saw a big change in charge temperature when we did the water meth, but we didn't see a big change in power. So let's go over here and we'll see. You can see here's the NA intake. Basically, it just took out the rotor pack and stuff. And somebody reminded me of something very interesting that I forgot about. They said, well, what did you do with the roller bearings for the rotor pack? I'm like, you know what, that's a really good question. I didn't do anything with them. So now I have to go back in there. When I'm going to take the backing plate that I made off. When I take that off, I'm going to look in there and just hope that they're all there. They're all packed in grease, so I think that they're going to stay in there. But what I'm going to do this time is we're probably, I'll take that off. I'll take this backing plate off. You can see, we'll take that off, and the rotor pack will be in here. And what I'll do is we'll just clean it really good, and I'll just put some really good Gorilla Tape over that, so that'll just hold them in place. When it's NA, you know, there's not a lot going on there. All you're getting is vibration. But see, here's a couple of cool sand rails. The Supercharger is the Gen 5 that's on there right now. This one obviously is more than that. My Supercharger has Supercharger envy. But this is a really cool one. You got to take a look at this exhaust. This is the one that you guys want me to dyno. Look at that. 8 of them all going into one. That's how you get the chicks. And then also you have a blower on there too. That's awesome. Yeah, everyone wave. What's up? What's happening? Yeah, cool stuff. So that's and that thing's really loud. I don't know anything about the sand rails. They're doing some tuning right now. Boosted Bird wants to see a stroker kit. I don't know that I'm going to do that. I think once I get done with I have a 265 blower pulley that I got. I have another camshaft. We have the ported heads. Once I run that, the Zex perimeter plate works really good. We've used it a lot, and it'll go up to about 300 horsepower. Once I run all this, I'm going to do a few tests right now with the blower. I'm going to go over either tomorrow or the next day and get the NA intake manifolds and do a comparison of the NA intake manifolds that I have, including that one out there. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do, I'll show you the underside of this, and I'm going to do a back-to-back test on this as well. So if we take a look at this, you can see under here. So right now, all the air is going through the throttle body and has to breathe through that V, basically, that the blower uses. And that's to affect port timing, but we don't need that on an NA. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and just mill all that out. And because we know from previous testing, when I opened the bypass valve, we picked up a little bit of power. So the intake manifold wanted more flow. The other thing that I think would happen, and I'm probably not going to test this because I don't have a spare Gen 5 blower, is I think the Gen 5 blower and the Gen 5 intake, if I did an NA intake manifold out of those because the opening in the Gen 5 blower is bigger, we might be able to pick up a little bit more power. But it'll be an interesting test. Yeah, they see they're starting that thing up. It's really, really loud. It's going to be all kinds of annoying. Did you hear they have a plate-based port nitrous kit for the Coyote? That's cool. You can make a lot of power with these things with the nitrous, obviously. And this thing just laughed it off. What I did on the nitrous is I took out what would be the best ignition system for a twin turbo 468. Currently I have a 6.8 digital with a Holly. That should work fairly well. We've done I think we've done 1500 probably with an MSD and a distributor. I'll take you over here, take a look at this big block over here. This is actually from one of the viewers. He was in today doing a test at WESTECH. The other thing I'm going to get to do is now I have a 3.8 pulley that I can put on this Gen 5 blower. But see, this is a big block, but it has coil packs. So this is kind of cool. We'll drive-by-wire throttle body and stuff. Nice little assembly. They did some testing on this thing today, and I think they're going to run nitrous on it tomorrow. You can see it's got It's got a direct kit on it. It's pretty cool. All kinds of fancy stuff here at WESTECH. So I don't know if you guys follow me on Instagram. If you don't, you should. What I did today, or what I got here last night, and Freiburger and Dulcich were running the Impala. So I put a video up on the on runs they made with that big black Impala with a blower on. It was pretty cool. Nothing but good stuff here. So I'm gonna put you guys up here. Yeah. So that thing came with its own fuel rails, so we're putting those on. Looks like I gotta clean this one out a little bit. This one looks pretty good. This one looks a little crusty inside there. I'll have to do something with that. But then we'll just hook, you know, we just have our branded lines we can hook to that. I think they're getting ready to make some pulls out there. Yeah, everybody hit the like button. Like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. So I'm happy to be down here doing more testing. Got this baby running today. I wanted to make sure, and you'll be able to hear them in the background. What additional parts do you need with a perimeter plate nitrous? I have Brian has sent me the truck Norris cam. So I'm gonna be doing some testing with that. That cam that Matt is selling has already been tested. If some of you might be familiar with it. Yeah, get those likes up. So this will be cool. I'm interested to see. Oh, I got to show you guys the other. I got to show you. Let me get your opinion. Somebody else, one of the viewers, sent me this other intercooler, and I'm probably going to get a chance to test it on this 3800 when I run the turbo on it. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so this is the intercooler. These are the in and out lines for the water. You can see the core in here. I think these are 3-inch inlets and outlets. You can see this. So, what do you guys think? How much power do you think it'll support? I'm gonna run it on the 3800 when we put the turbo on it. I'm just curious to see. I don't know how restrictive it'll be, but I think it'll be an interesting test. And the first thing I noticed about this is when I opened it up, I said, you know, that looks like the old cherry bomb mufflers. And since Freiburger was here, obviously he had to name it. So I was thinking it looks like a cherry bomb, and he said, yeah, but it's an intercooler, so you should call it the chili bomb. So apparently that's going to be the name, is the chili bomb. So it'll be interesting to see, and I want to see what the difference in charge temperature is, because like I said, when we make successive runs, we're getting, I think the hottest one we saw was about 220 degrees, that's pretty hot. So hopefully the intercooler will drop the temperature. The interesting thing, the thing that I'm really curious about is I'm curious to see if we actually add any power. So keeping the blower pulley the same, running the intercooler, I'm assuming that we are gonna lower the charge temperature. That's kind of a given. The thing that I don't know is I don't know how, at the power level that we're at and the flow level that we're at, I don't know how restrictive this is. I don't know what the drop and boost is going to be. And I don't know what the, I don't know if we're going to see an increase in airflow. So it'd be interesting to have the air hat on this thing. So if we saw a change in power, we would almost have to see a change in, we'd almost have to see a change in airflow, because that's what it would come from. Admiral, I did see Eric mention, he talked to me a long time ago, if that's what you're talking about testing some intake manifolds. And I would love to do some stuff with him. I watch his stuff and he does good stuff. So I'll be curious to see if there is a change in charge temperature, how much it is, and if that actually equates to power. Or if it's just like we saw with the water methanol, if it's just going to be like a safety thing where we bring the charge temperature down, make it less likely to detonate, and also make it more repeatable, and so that we don't have a continually rising charge temperature, which you would have if you were on and off the throttle on this thing a whole bunch. You'd start to get a lot of temperature in this thing. The starting temperature would definitely be high, so it takes a while for the thing to like cool back off. We're going to try it with the pulley that's on there right now, because that's really what I want to see. We know that a smaller pulley will change the boost. We know that will change the power, because they always do that. And we know that we have more room to go up, even with the charge temperature that high, because we're running 85. There's obviously more, you can run a 3-inch without having to modify the snout. Yeah, we already have it on there. We didn't have to do anything to the snout. But I have a 2.6. We're definitely going to have to shave the snout down, but it's not a big deal. It's pretty easy. I'm also excited about, I have the 3.8-inch pulley, and what I'll do is put that on so that I can directly compare. I can do the L67 versus the L32 blower, and we can see how much just the blower is worth in terms of power by comparing one to the other. The unfortunate thing is we don't really have new blowers for either one of those. We just have ones that we got from the wrecking yard, so we'll assume that they're kind of the same. Judging by running them, they both seem to do what they're supposed to do in terms of boost and power. So I'll be interested to see what the difference in power is between those two with just the blower upgrade, both of them running the same pulley. So that would be kind of cool. So what else? Oh, I have right now, somebody asked about the valve springs. Right now it has LS3 valve springs in it. I ordered a set, and they've come from ZZP. We have a set of 26-918, or I got the springs from Comp Cams. They're 26-918s, which is what I'm putting on the ported heads. So those will have a spring upgrade on them. We also machined the pad so that we could get the installed height right. We're putting a bigger camshaft in it. We're putting the ported heads on it. I have ARP head studs. What I'll do before we run the Big Bang stuff is I also want to get some Cometic MLS head gaskets for it, because right now these just have the Pep Boys deals. And we won't do a Big Bang on that. The other thing I'm thinking about doing is I might surface the block, because I don't think that the factory surface finish on the block is going to be really conducive for the MLS head gaskets. I want the thing to seal and not lose head gasket seal because the block and the heads weren't prepped. The heads are already done, so they're ready to go. And I have to take the block apart anyway, because I have to put ring gap in it. While it's apart, I may just have Derek just do a surface cut so that we have the right RA finish for head gasket, for the MLS head gasket, so that when we put it together, put the heads on, we can hold them and they'll seal up, especially with the ARP head studs, which I love the guys at ARP. They always do good stuff. And then we can really turn the boost up. What I'll do while I'm here this time is, when we get done with the blower stuff, we're gonna make another pull here. See if you can hear it in the background. It's totally appropriate. They are making power, definitely. That thing should be making good power. It's a mass short block with AFR heads on it. Yeah, that thing's making good power. It's a mass short block AFR heads. It's got that Whipple blower on it. It's got the 8-into-1 headers on it. You know, it's probably doing okay. We'll take a walk out there and see what they're doing on the tuning. All I hear is music. It is music. It sounds good though. So that's what I'm doing the rest of the tonight. I'm gonna try to finish up the video for you guys. Unfortunately, I left my freaking camera down back home. So that's gonna be interesting. Have to do something with that. Let's see. I didn't get to see that. Something about 2 horsepower per cubic inch. That's a lot of power. That's an inordinate amount of power. So anyway, I'll go get the NA intake manifolds. Somebody else, and thank you for the gentleman that sent me the inserts for the intake manifolds. So we'll be able to test different runner lengths of the manifolds, which would be good. We'll be able to see the how the short runner versions of those intake manifolds compare to the, putting the blower casing on there. We'll be able to run all those intake manifolds NA, and then after I run the NA stuff, what I'll do is then we'll put the turbo on, and we'll run a bunch of turbo stuff. So I can run, I'm not, because I haven't changed the ring gap. I don't know what it is. Apparently it's pretty good given the fact that we just ran lots of nitrous on it, and with the boost from the blower, so that made good power. But I think we probably won't run more than about 15 pounds or something like that on the turbo, but we'll see. Maybe more if we'll feel it. If it feels good, we'll keep going. It should make good power. Let's we'll go out and see what kind of power those guys are making on the sand rail. How's it doing? 750 is the number right now. How much boost is it running, Ish? 11 pounds? Only 11 pounds, man. That's nothing. Is this on E85? Oh, cool. That's perfect. E85, 11 pounds. Is that a 420? 420. Is that what it is? Okay, cool. Yeah, 427. See? Lots of cubic inches, boost, E85, just all kinds of good stuff. That's how they do it. So these are all finger tight. So we can take a look at that. Yeah, I think that thing will do wheelies pretty easily, I would imagine. So I'm curious to see if any of the bearings fell out of here. Nope. You can look down in there. They're all still packed up in their grease, so they're looking good. So that's good news. So what I'll do is, like I said, I'll just clean that off really good, and then we'll put some tape over it so that they don't, just to make sure that they don't come out. But I'm excited about getting on the mill, and I can mill that stuff out, and we can have even more intake flow. I think it'll help a little bit. I mean, this thing's not going to make a ton of power NA, I don't think. Maybe it'll be interesting with the ported heads and the bigger camshaft. And I'd actually like to go up one step above the camshaft that I just got from ZZP. I'd kind of like to do my own, but we'll see if there's something out there that's off the shelf that would work well. I don't think it's going to take a whole bunch of power NA to get to the power level that we need to get to with boost to get to the limit of something like the pistons or rods, This thing, what I'd like to do more than anything else is just clean this thing. It's pretty greasy. It's plenty greasy. So let's take a walk over and I'll grab some of those other parts. Tell you what cams and stuff I got. Why you want to give me the run around? Let's see here. Okay. Got our boxes of stuff. 3.8-inch pulley. Nobody wants that though, because that's like a stock one. Here's the one everybody wants. This is a real pulley. That's the little one. So to put those into perspective, so we're going to change boost by that much. And for this one, we'll definitely have to machine the snout down. That's what was on there originally. You can see, look at this. Look, it fits in there. So we got some, I got a package of lifters. This is the cam. Can you see hard to see the spec sheet on there. Huh? So this is a 507, 220, 230, and a 112 for this camshaft. What I'd like to see is, I'd like something that's like 550, 560, and then something that would be like 228, 230, 231 on the intake side, and then 239 on the exhaust. So, you know, mid to high 500s. And then it could be like a 111 or 112, I think would be good. ARP studs, got those. Let's see what this thing is. Sometimes you forget about all the stuff that you order. It's a hub. I'm not sure why they sent this, because I already had this, but I don't think that I ordered it. Okay, these are cool. So these are the inserts for the intake manifold. These will be cool. Oh yeah. The 26/918 springs. Trying to get it so that, there we go. That's much better. So we have the light on it. And then I got some push rods also. I think David sent me a 2.2 liter cylinder head. That'll be cool. Just got to get that over to the machine shop. So, lots of good stuff to test. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. There's the stock exhaust down there that we're going to run. Already ran the snow performance, water meth stuff. You know, good stuff. So if you guys have any questions, I'll try to answer some questions before I get going, because I got to get, I want to get this intercooler test done, and then I'd like to get that stuff off and get the NA deal done. Yay, 2.2 head, that's right. And I'm also going to try to take the head off of the 2.5 while I'm down here, so I can get that over and get it repaired. The other 2.2 head has been repaired. It was welded up, and so it's coming back over. You want the mop bucket on the chassis now? Should timing be pulled for 100 to 150 plate wet shot? It depends. On a 100 shot, a lot of times we don't, especially if we have good gas. On 91, it's probably a good idea. Not to be off topic, but have you tried high power coils on a Hemi? We run the factory ones. I ran those way over 1,000 horsepower, so I haven't seen an upgrade that I needed yet. Oh, I got a J-Series V6 manual transmission. Speaking of J-Series, I need to update you guys. While I was driving down here last night, I was on the phone with my buddy Jimmy, and Jimmy is the guy that owned HP Performance, the turbo place. He has an NSX. He swapped a J32 into it and got it running. So the motor's in, it's running, and it's turbocharged, and he's out driving around, and it's making boost. So right now it's making, I don't know, like 8 or 9 pounds. So he's driving around, tuning it. It's got an AEM. He's pretty familiar with that, so he's been doing a lot of stuff. He's running it around right now on 91, and he promises to get me some dyno results on it, and then I'm going to do some videos on that, which will be very, very cool. I used to have an NSX. I had a 91. Jimmy and Nathan, the guys at HP, did a turbo kit for me on that car, and it made 525 or something. Ultimately is what we turned it up to. And I drove it around at about 410 or 420 probably, and it was a lot of fun. And his J32 is going to be even torquier than the NSX. It's not going to rev out quite as far, but he's got the guys at Schneider Cams are doing some regrinds for the J32. We probably will test a ported head, and we're going to be testing different boost levels and all kinds of cool stuff. So it will be really cool. And I want to get a J series and run it on the engine dyno too, and maybe a J35. We were looking at different hybrid combinations because I don't like the ones that have the cylinder heads where the exhaust is all merged together and stuff. I'm not going to run that. So we want to run something that has a standard style head. I think we can interchange heads if the J35s don't have, and none of those have them, or if one that I would want isn't readily available. Then we can do some cool stuff. And I like those J-Series Hondas. He wants to be able to rev his out a little bit farther. He can run a rising boost curve because he has a boost controller, and it'll be really cool because the NSX was a lot of fun. Even the NA one was good, but it just felt like it was, you know, down on power. It had lots of gearing and it had lots of RPM, and the thing hooked up really well. But still, you know, it was much, much nicer when it had the turbo. And to have a 3.2 liter in there and one that's making more torque and having boost, it'll be really cool. Because if he's already running, you know, 9 pounds or something, and he was just getting ready to, he's going to be doing more testing with E85. So he'll be able to run even more timing because obviously he's running 93 and not 91 because he's out in Georgia or somewhere. So he's running 93 in it, so he can run a little bit more timing than we can here with 91. But once he gets the 85 in, it's really gonna work well. So he's got a few things to, you know, as always with these projects, he's got a few things to button up and make sure that they're all right. But I'll be definitely doing videos with Jimmy because he's a good guy. I'll be definitely doing stuff with him. We'll be doing stuff on the NSX. And the cool thing is he's actually gonna take that car out and drag race it. So it'll be good. It'll be cool to see not just the power numbers, but how they translate into you know, actual performance. Because one of the things I want him to do, and I've been wanting somebody to do, is I want him to show, like if we run it at 10 pounds, 15 pounds, and 20 pounds, I want it to go out to the track and run at 10 pounds and 15 pounds and 20 pounds. And then we could see, even if it's not, you know, because sometimes it's hard to get runs that are consistent with ET and stuff, but at least we could see a big change in mile an hour. We go, oh yeah, that adds 5 miles an hour, that adds 10 miles an hour, that adds whatever the thing is. The later ones have VTEC and VVT, I think. The 3.7s might have that. The K-Series does. 7,000s piston to wall is quite a bit. It's going to make noise. especially if it's a factory cast piston, because they don't need much piston to wall. If it's a forged one, you probably could get away with it because there's going to be some growth there, but the factory piston doesn't need anywhere near that. Torque versus performer RPM dyno test small block forward. I've already done that. I've done that a bunch. The RPM is the way to go. The Victor Jr. is way better than the Torquer too. Where are the questions at? The round-to-round guys are running anti-reversion headers or mufflers or something. You've been looking at putting a 6.1 intake on your 5.7. It's going to make less power except for the very top compared to the Magnum 5.7 intake manifold. The truck one is actually pretty good too. But the 6.1's better, but only at the very, very top. Any comments on the 60-degree GM V6? I don't know what the question was. Somebody was asking a question about head flow and boost or a turbo application. I'm not concerned with that. The power output that you get on a turbo motor is going to be a function of the NA and then multiplied by the boost level. The camshaft that Matt is selling, the 219, 225, guys have been asking me whether or not they can use that with a stock stall converter. I don't think that you can. I think that it might be a little on the big side. What's the difference between dome and boost pressure? Well, one is in the motor and one is at the wastegate. 410 CFM, 12 pounds of boost, 285 CFM horsepower. That tells me nothing about what the horsepower potential is of the motor. Tell me what the NA power output is if you don't know, or if you don't know what the NA power is, because the head flow tells you nothing. The head flow only tells you potential. So what camshaft does it have in it? What intake manifold does it have in it? What's the compression? All of that stuff will tell me what the NA power is, and then the boost just multiplies that. Chad, yeah, the intercooler is going on right now. I'm going to be testing it. I have tested GM 60-degree V6s, but only on the chassis dyno, not on the engine dyno. How long till the Big Bang turbo test? It's going to be a ways. Making another run out there. Junkyard diesels work good on small power outputs. Have I tested a circle track carb? Yeah, the what is it, the 5512 or something like that? I've run a bunch of tests on those. Were there any downside to the NSX? No, it was a Japanese Ferrari. I mean, it was like having a Honda Civic that looked really cool and was a lot faster than a Civic. The one thing that happened on the NSX is the window regulator, the window regulator went out. I've never run an S475 with VGT. I didn't know that they even made one. The only VGT turbos that I've ever run were back on production ones. I have not tested a truck Norris cam yet. I've seen the dyno results from Brian, so I know what they do. The NSX or the VX. The NSX was definitely better, but did not get the fuel mileage. Yeah, the NSXs are money now. Blow through 2-barrel carbs. I ran the 5512 as a blow through on E85 on the 292 inline 6-cylinder Chevy. I wouldn't recommend it for driving around, but it worked for the dyno because we could just make it, you know, we could put enough jet in it to have the air fuel that we wanted. I think you can run the truck Norris cam with a stock converter. I don't know that I would do it on a 4.8, but on a 5.3 you probably can. And on a 6-liter, I think you definitely could. And that's what I was telling somebody about that 219, 225 cam, that I think on a 6-liter you might be able to get away with a stock converter. Yeah, the 90s cars are going up a lot. I really want a Gen 3 RX-7. You can build a air conditioning. Guys have asked that a lot. Can you do the Freon and the AC system and run that and help cool it? Yeah, Dodge does that on their Demons already. Richard, any prediction on difference in power between intercooling on E85 versus non-intercooled on E85? I don't know. I don't know if we'll see a gain. I'm kind of curious to see if there will be a power gain. Yeah, I just want a bone stock Gen 3 RX-7. Yeah, I like those. Yeah, and I don't even care about popping the thing out. If we've done this in the past, so as long as I just clean the surface, the Gorilla Tape will stick on there and not allow any. It'll be harder to get the Gorilla Tape out. Uh, 22 degrees on a turbo 6-liter should be fine. Ever hear of Rotary Shack? No, I haven't. Max lift at 50. Well, it's not lift at 50, it's duration at 50. And it's normally around 231, 232 on the intake duration is about where you run into piston and valve clearance problems. I think somebody asked a question about switching from 91 to race gas, and we don't ever see a change in power from that. You can on a turbo application where you turn the boost up and turn the timing up, but usually on NA stuff, like if we ran this thing NA and we ran it on 91 and then put 100 in it, we probably wouldn't see any power at all. The 100 that we use, or that we used to use, was oxygenated, so sometimes you can see a little bit of power from that. But the extra octane does nothing. And then going from, because I was talking to Freiberger about this last night, because they had run a test on, they ran 91 and 100, I think, and 118, and then there was no difference in power going from 100 to 118. You can break a crank, but it's, if you detonate it. What's the highest compression you'd run on a D-Series? Is if it's an NA motor, we've run lots of compression. Did I miss the discussion about the best cam? No, no, there's no best cam. It's the one that you have. On a roots blower, water meth pre-blower versus intercooler, oh, hang on. Cancel. Somebody asked a question about running the water meth before the blower and then running an intercooler. We'll be able to see that because I already did that test. That's how we run it. We injected the water meth before the blower. The best cam is boost. But the thing is, on a stock cam, you can run boost on it, but then, like especially with these blowers, you get a big rise in boost at the end. What about the new Happel cam versus the truck Norris? Those are different cams, in my opinion, for different applications. That 219, 225 is a bigger cam than the Truck Norris cam is. Yeah, you should ask Matt where, JPL, what's up? You should ask Matt where he got that name from. Charles, I'm familiar with the cam. How much do you think it would take to break the block? I don't know. Mahovitz would be the guy to ask about that. I'm curious if I don't like that cam that I got it because it's 220, 230, and I wanted to see, and this is 210, 220, so I wanted to see what another 10 degrees of duration would be. This is 510 lift, that's 507, that's fairly comparable. I just want to see what the change in duration is going to do. Are we going to be able to rev it higher? Is it going to make more power? I think it ultimately will make more power. I'm fully expecting it to trade power down low, which I think we will see. I'm hoping that the ported heads help everywhere. I can't wait to get them so that I can airflow test them and find out how much better they are than what I did when I just did my hand porting. Can you do a video on the 427 tall deck Chevy? No, but I am doing a 427 though, and also a 454 and also a 396. What's the max gap with copper plugs and stock coils with a 5.7 Hemi? You don't want max gap, you want minimum gap. You don't want to have a big gap on it. When we run boost on them, we run them around 19. And having more gap is not going to help you. Having a less gap is always better. Can you do a 2JZ? I don't have any of those. What would be better for an LS setup? The nitrous will make a lot more than a water meth setup will. After you do the 3800, you should do the 3800 Ford. I don't think we'll probably do that. The LS1 block and the LS2 block and the LS3 block are not ideal for really high boost stuff. So what do you prefer on NA with the tune? I don't know what the question was. Were we asking about camshafts? Camshafts, I don't even like to tell people what camshaft to pick anymore because the camshafts are so subjective. What they want is not what if I recommend something, they're gonna say, well, what about this? And what about this? And what about this? And then I just run out of interest in talking to them because I don't, what people more often than not, what they're asking me is they want me to tell them what they wanted to hear. They want validation or reaffirmation for whatever thing that they chose. And that's fantastic. If you chose it and you like it and you like the power curve and you like the fact that it works with or does not work with the stock computer, all of the considerations that would go into camshaft, that's fantastic. I'm all for that. But don't ask me a whole bunch of questions about different things only because you're already going to choose the one that you chose. That's just wasting both of our times. Ring gap question, 351 Cleveland, NA versus 100 shot. It would be good to have a little bit more, but if you don't have it, on a 100 shot it probably will be fine. Ever run a hotter or colder plug on Hemis? Yes, all the time. I'm just watching the 500 horsepower LS stuff. Just finished building your engine. Did you get the fuel rails figured out? I haven't. All I've looked right now so far is cleaning them. As long as they're clean, we can bolt them on, and then I just can hook lines to them. That would be really easy. Do you know if WESTECH has adapters to run a Ferrari 3 liter? Probably not. I was thinking about going one step hotter on a plug. Why would you want to go to a hotter plug? The Atlas, I think, sounds better with a turbo. I've only run the 3800 so far with the turbo and the blower, but I'm curious how it's going to sound with the just the turbo on it. But right now, the Atlas sounded really good. Does the LS have a hot cylinder hotter than others? I think guys think that 7 or 8 is the hot one on the LS stuff. If you're trying to make power, spark plugs are not going to do it. Yeah, I don't know how much power that 2.5 was making. I have no idea what the boost level was or anything. LS1 found a crack in the block. Is it an easy fix? I don't know. If it's an LS1 block, you should be able to weld it. I don't know where the crack is if it's external. That's the nice thing about aluminum, is that you can repair it. Roundy rounder, 12 pounds of boost. I don't know what the question is. These things go by so fast. Sometimes I can't get to all of them. I have run the ZEC stuff that runs a line to the regulator. I don't really like those. You have a 32 valve 4.6. I would run a heat range 7 probably. Let's hear your 3800 testing findings. The only thing I've done so far is run it, back it up from what we already ran previously to make sure that it was still doing what it's supposed to. And then we ran nitrous on it, and then now I'm running the intercooler on it. Oh, I'm getting low on juice. So I'm gonna have to take my mic out for a little bit, so run out. So the audio is gonna change. Yeah, we have some E3 plugs here too. We don't really use them though. So let's see if I can get this thing configured. So that, yeah, there we go. Now we don't have to worry about the, that's as high as I can go there. What's the biggest cam you can run on a 5-through valve release? Well, the sky's the limit. I don't know how high you want to run the RPM, because you're gonna get up there in RPM. Ever hear of anybody porting the stock manifolds, like the truck manifolds? Yeah, I was gone for a few days. I haven't done anything since, I think, before New Year's. Any experience with, I can't read the thing, it's too long. Something about pre-combustion passive spark plugs or something? Probably not. How much power will a stock LM throttle body support NA? Well, you could make 600 horsepower with a stock throttle body. It's just that it would make a lot more if it had a bigger throttle body. You can get, because what happens is that the airflow of the throttle body will go up because you have a lot more vacuum behind it because there's a big restriction, but it's not ideal. Crankcase vacuum test, we've done that. Brule's done that. I don't have a Holden intake manifold. The 5.7 Hemi car intake manifold works really good. It's pretty easy to figure out boost versus the power if you have the NA power output. If you have a 500 horsepower motor at 14.5 pounds, it will make 1,000 horsepower. So that sort of math is pretty easy. I have lots of New Year's resolutions. I have a lot of things that I want to do with the channel, lots of tests I want to get done, lots of engines I got to get rid of. We're definitely doing more with the 4.2 liter, the 4200, the Atlas motor. I got a lot of stuff we're doing with the 3800. We should be finished with that though before too long. Today on this trip, I'm hoping also to run some LS1 stuff. Actually, it's a 5.7, it's a bored out 5.3 block that's now LS1 size. So I'm hoping to do some cam testing with that. We're going to run that sloppy cam, and I think Brian sent a Truck Norris cam. I'm also going to do a comparison between the truck intake manifold and the LS4 intake manifold. Because I've never seen a test of the LS4 intake manifold. Yeah, 450 horsepower, 14.5 pounds, you're at 900. Possible LS7 heads on an LS3, would it make more power? Will that fit? I don't know that it'll fit on that bore. The valves are in a different spot on the LS7. Dream engine you want to test this year? The Sprint engine. I'd like to test the 1 liter Chevy Sprint engine on the dyno. I'd like to get this Big Bang done, and the Big Block Big Bang done, and the Honda K-Series Big Bang done. The inline 5-cylinder, the 3700 version of the 4200 is also a good one. I mean, it's another one we'd like to do. I'm guessing David was happy with the final results on the 2.2 head. He hasn't done anything to them, so there's no results yet. Once you have a safe tune on a turbo and you don't know. If you have knock sensors, you know, and also you just know from experience having blown them up. I know, I do want to, it's been sitting for so long, I just want to run it. Your question on the 6-liter LQ4 with boost, we run it like at 19 or 20 plug gap. We've run boost on, when I say we, I mean the guy that I was doing the story with ran boost. He put a Powerdyne supercharger on one of the inline 5 Colorados. How do they do 5 liters make good power? The Coyote, well, they're really good motors to start out with. There are aftermarket knock sensor, there's aftermarket knock sensor technology. Oh, that reminds me, I need to ask Eric and Ish about the knock sensor voltage on the AEM. Okay guys, 1 more minute. I gotta get going. Didn't you show you got a 2.2 liter head back? The 2.2 liter head is done. I don't have it back yet. Texas is in the house. Yeah. Coyotes are 4 cam. Yeah, I'll be here tomorrow. I'll be here all week. Tip your waitresses. Can you do a series most for under 25? I don't really do, I don't do money things. And the cheapest thing you could do for $2,500 would be a turbo. I have videos up on the manifold, on the Hemi manifolds. I ran the truck, I ran the Magnum, and I ran the SRT 8. Can you measure Bear and Atlas headset spacing? I don't do money things. People want to do budget stuff like that, and I do budget stuff, but I just never categorize it like that. Roundy Rounder, hey, just send me an email or whatever if you have direct questions. Yes, and I hope everybody had a good, happy New Year. I did. I got to spend it with family, which was awesome. We went to Costco and got steak and lobster, so it was a good night. I do want to do the new 4.3 liter GM, the LT version of the, it's an LV3, I think. And I do want to do some stuff on that. That definitely is in the cards. And more Gen 5 stuff as well. Because, you know, you got it. Because it's the new LS. LT is the new LS. How much money do you have into the 30? I have no idea. Tuning gauge. It'd be nice to have knock sensor feedback if you could get it all working right, but it takes a lot. I mean, it takes a lot to get it. GM spend, or all of them spend lots of money to make that happen. And it only works when everything is stock. Do push rods need to be upgraded? I honestly don't think so. Okay, who's gonna get the last question? Ready. Somebody get a question in there. Somebody get a question in there. I'm getting ready. I know I do need to get back to work. You have a little bit more juice in my phone though. Oh, intercooler. Are you, Aaron, you get the last question. Are you getting to the Magnum? Yes, I am. As a matter of fact, we'll walk out and that will be my final thing. I'll show you, the Magnum is here. The Magnum's gonna take a little bit of work though, because I've got to take it all apart, got to take the heads off, got to take the oil pan off, got to take all the pistons and rods out, and put them back where they're supposed to go before you do a fabulous piston flip. Where is the Magnum at? I don't even know. I thought it was here. Somewhere. I don't know. It's probably hiding somewhere. The Magnum is in the building somewhere. Yeah, well, here, you can pretend that this is it, although this is an LA motor, I think. That's one of Dulcich's deals. All those Engine Master guys, you know, they get all the cool stuff. I get all the wrecking yard stuff. You know how we do it. All right, guys, I will see you guys all tomorrow, and then look for the video with the Nitrous and Boost, because it's always better to have both of them. I'll see you guys tomorrow.